Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. Today, this would be part 3, volume 3 of my mixed bag of DVDs and Blu-rays that have been picked up over the past 4 to 6 months or so. Now these are movies that don't really fit into any group, that I couldn't really fit into an episode that had these, certain movies in it and stuff like that. A couple of them are westerns. I could have put those in a western, but they just ended up not being in the western. So let's get right to it, guys. With said western that didn't make the cut into one of the other videos, I don't know why. This is a DVD from the Paramount 90th anniversary edition. These were so prevalent back in the day. You would see the Paramount with the border on the top and everything, different colors to match the artwork, etc. This is a rare movie. I'll say rare because I had never heard of it, but it's a great movie starring Jeff Bridges, and it's directed by Robert Benton from 1972. Bad Company. This is a really interesting movie. It's kind of a wannabe cowboy, outlaw type of movie. Let me just read a little bit about it. This tale of the friendship of survival set during the days of the 1860s focuses on a roguish group of runaways living by their wits and natural instincts. Two of them in particular are complementary opposites. Drew is the good boy from a God-fearing stock in Ohio, out west to evade the draft to the Civil War and everything. And Jake is a scruffy scoundrel, a saddle tramp, not above a little larceny here and there. Along the trail, they encounter a variety of varmints, renegades, and everything in between. And eventually, they find themselves older and wiser for the journey and their friendship. So it's a great movie. 2 stars, Barry Brown, Jeff Bridges. Barry Brown, I guess he's got a face that's recognizable, but I don't know what I've seen him in. I don't think he went on to be a great big star or anything. But yeah, it's one of those movies, just one of those rare nuggets of, movies that you just kind of got lost under the radar somehow. They kind of got lost to time a little bit. Jeff Bridges is always a great actor. Jeff Bridges always turns in a good role. This is a year after he did big movie, Peter Bogdanovich's movie. Gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting this movie. But anyways, he just made a great movie. He's on a roll. He started doing a bunch of really good movies in the 70s and stuff. So, Jeff Bridges has had such a great career, if you think about it and look back at some of his really good movies he's made. So it's a great little movie that you just would love to see. It's on maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and you catch it, and you're just like, "What was that?" It's like, like you can't place a date or anything on it. It's just one of those movies you see. But anyways, Bad Company. It's an interesting movie. Very just lost. I guess a lost movie to the 70s. One of those great little nuggets that you pass over, I guess. Next up is a movie from Warner Archive Collection starring the great Eddie Cantor. Eddie Cantor was a huge, famous vaudevillian. He was huge on Broadway in the 20s, doing musical plays, musical shows and stuff like that. In 1929, he went to Hollywood, started making some movies for Samuel Goldwyn. This would be one of the movies. This is from 1930. This is called Whoopi, and this is a really cool movie to the fact that it was filmed in it was a rare Technicolor at the time, which was kind of I think it was a two-strip Technicolor. and everything. But yeah, it's got some really cool, interesting songs. It's got some early Busby Berkeley musical numbers, which, you know, I talked about in another episode, Warner Brothers musicals from the early 30s. That's where Busby Berkeley would find his niche, was at Warner Brothers, and all those musical numbers, just fantastic camera movements and stuff. This is where he kind of got one of his first movies he did, was Whoopi. And it's got some really cool little musical numbers and stuff. I do this because that's people dancing. Anyways, it's got some great songs. If you like, you know, kind of the old, early 30s songs, songs like Making Whoopi, My Baby Just Cares for Me. They're like little songs you would hear in cartoons a lot too. But these are these are the songs and stuff. So really funny. I mean, he's got some scenes. You know, there's some stuff in here. Of course, it's dated. It's 1930. You know, it's 90, you know, it's 90 years old. I mean, it's hard to believe. But he's funny enough. He plays kind of a hypochondriac character. He wears like these big round glasses and stuff. He's pretty funny. He's made some really good movies in the early 30s. I need to pick up some more of his movies. But Whoopi was one of the first ones I saw back in the long time ago when I was a kid. I saw it on TV or something. And I thought it was interesting because of that early Technicolor and stuff, and I thought that was cool. So yeah, this is a really good release to pick up from Warner Archive. Like if they're having a sale or something, take a chance on Whoopi. It's a great little movie. It's an example of the late 20s, early 30s Hollywood trying to do musicals. You know, they're trying to come off the stage and make things less stagey looking and more, you know, the camera and stuff. That's what Busby Berkeley did. You know, he really took the camera off its pedestal and let it move a little bit, and with the dance numbers and stuff, which was really cool. Next up, guys, this is another entry into some of the Rolling Thunder pictures. Quentin Tarantino's movie company he had in the early 2000s, where he released some of his favorite indie movies and grindhouse type movies. This is a movie, very interesting movie, kind of silly. It's from one of my favorite studios in Hong Kong. It was kind of a partnership with the Shaw Brothers. If you don't know the Shaw Brothers, eventually I'm going to do my martial arts and Shaw Brothers tribute video, but until then I'll just give you a little preview. But this is a movie, a really oddball movie. It's just really odd. I'm trying to think of the American actress that's in it. I think her name is Evelyn Kraft or Danny Lee. I think it's Evelyn Kraft. But it's basically a movie. Okay, blah blah blah. It's called Mighty Peking Man. Say that 100 times fast. But it got 2 thumbs up by Roger and Siskel and Ebert at the time. Came out in the late 70s. It's got one American actress in it. That's the Evelyn person I'm talking about. But it's got like a man in a gorilla suit. And somehow or another, guys, it all works. It all works somehow. It's really cheesy. It's got some laughable scenes and stuff, but I think it doesn't take itself too serious. But it's basically the Mighty Peking Man. It's kind of like a King Kong type of character. He's not as big as King Kong, but he's kind of this wild man. And, well, the only thing I can do is describe it. This is how it's described on the thing. Sure to drive you wild, here's one of the funniest, most hysterically campy movies ever made. The Mighty Peking Man. A powerful earthquake awakens a giant ape-like creature who descends from the mountains into the treacherous jungles of India. Later, an expedition of greedy showmen capture the fearsome beast, bringing him and the scantily clad blonde bombshell he protects back to civilization. But payback comes when the mighty Peking man breaks loose and begins to run amok in the heart of the city. An outrageous adventure that never takes itself too seriously. Treat yourself to a guilty pleasure that has entertained critics and late-night movie audiences everywhere. But it's got great reviews at the time. I believe it came out in 1977, I want to say. But really interesting movie. It's just one of those odd movies and stuff. So it's kind of like part martial arts movie, part jungle movie, part creature movie, part scantily clad movie lady movie something. It's just all mishmash of things, and it's pretty hilarious, actually. It's pretty good. Like it said, it doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you can find this, this really, I don't know, it may be on other editions, but this is the main one I know that's available. And it fluctuates in price. I mean, you're going to pay anywhere from $15 to $30, if not more, for it. So, interesting movie. If you can find it for a good price, pick it up. It's worth it. It's just crazy. Next up, this is a release that just came out during the holidays from Classic Flicks. Now, this is a movie that I have wanted to get forever. I'm a big Laurel and Hardy fan, and I have like all their silents. I have all their features, their shorts. I love Laurel and Hardy. Now, this is a movie that Hal Roach was the producer that they worked for, Hal Roach Studios. And what he did was, they were on a break or something at the time. This was 1939. And Oliver Hardy, one half of the group, went on to make this movie for Hal Roach at the time. And it also pairs classic silent comedian Harry Langdon in a role where he's talking. So it's kind of a rare thing to see him in it. But it also stars Billy Burke, who was the Good Witch in Wizard of Oz, and of course it has a love story and stuff. Produced by A. Edward Sutherland, who did a lot of the great. I think he did some Abbott and Costello. He did a lot of W.C. Fields stuff. Pretty good producer director. But this movie is called Zenobia, and Zenobia is the elephant in the movie, and it's basically this elephant. Oliver Hardy's like a doctor, or like he's a veterinarian doctor or something. And anyways, it's a wacky movie. It's wacky. Let's just say the elephant gets involved. He takes care of it. Zenobia, the elephant, like really loves Oliver Hardy, and it just you got elephants walking through houses, and it's complete wacky. I mean, is it as funny as a Laurel and Hardy movie? No. It sadly is not as funny as it would be with with Stan Laurel in it, unfortunately, because Harry Langdon, as a talking comedian, wasn't as funny as he was silent, which that was a big letdown in his career, that he constantly was trying to break through and be like Chaplin and Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton, who went on into the talking era with great success, some success, etc. Even Laurel and Hardy were started as silent comedians, and they broke through. They were more famous as talking comedians. But Harry Langdon, unfortunately, never got that great acclaim and stuff. So I think Hal Roach was trying to team him up, possibly to make a new comedy team, but it kind of fell on its face. But I love Oliver Hardy so much, and it's a cute movie. It's not bad. I love seeing some of the scenes with Oliver Hardy and the elephant. It's funny. He plays kind of a southern gentleman kind of person. Takes place in Georgia during the 1800s, like a plantation and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I just always wanted this. It was available from the UK, or it was available on a German Blu-ray, and I just never did fork out the like $40 or something it was. to buy it. I'm glad I didn't, because it's not that great of a movie, but it is a good movie. I would probably give it a C, and a C plus. I mean, maybe even a B minus, but it's a curio. That's why this movie didn't really fit in with any other movies. But Zenobia. Now, write that down, guys, because you might forget it. Now, next up, I got a movie. This was a big hit in 1979. This is on countless, like, people's favorite movies or great movies and stuff like that. This was directed by Richard Rush. Now, he did a bunch of indie stuff. He did a lot of motorcycle pictures. He did a lot of cool stuff. This actually has a great documentary on here called The Maverick Career of Richard Rush. And then there's another one called The Sinister Saga of Making the Stuntman, another feature-length documentary. But this is a release from Severin that came out a few years ago of The Stuntman. Now, The Stuntman is a really cool movie. It stars Peter O'Toole and Steve Railsback. Steve Railsback plays the stuntman. It's got Barbara Hershey in it. This was a movie that was nominated for 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor, Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. So it's really cool. This was a story that Richard Rush wanted to make forever, and he finally got to make his movie. Basically, Peter O'Toole plays this half-drunk director that's trying to, make this action picture. He's kind of hit a brick wall. He's not really known what he's doing, what's going on with this movie. And then one day, Steve Railsback, while running from the law, ends up stumbling onto the movie set and ends up in the scene. And Peter O'Toole loves what he did because he did this stunt, like he fell out and did something, really crazy. He did it really well. And he had kind of a knack of being a stuntman. So he kind of puts him in this movie, and it goes from there. Barbara Hershey is really good in this role. It's a movie. It's hard to describe. I first got this on Laserdisc and everything. It's a great movie. But this is a great release by Severin, for sure. It's got a lot of stuff on here. It's available on Blu-ray also, but I ended up getting I think it's out of print. And it's pretty expensive now to get it on Blu-ray. But yeah, The Stuntman. It's a really interesting movie. It really is. It's a good movie. It's loaded with special features, so that's another thing for The Stuntman. Next up, this is a movie recently released by Kino Lorber. This is by the great James Whale, the director James Whale, who made Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. He made The Invisible Man. He made... he made a lot of cool little movies. A lot of his movies are not on Blu-ray, or they haven't been restored, and they're just languishing in public domain territory. And I wish they would get a lot of those and restore those, because he made a lot of movies for Universal in the 30s and stuff. And it's sad that some of those movies aren't on better DVD and Blu-ray releases. They just really need to be rescued. But this is a movie from 1933. It's called The Kiss Before the Mirror, and it's a very interesting, it's kind of like a. Let me describe this. This is a brand new 2K master. Let me. Where does this thing start? When Walter Bernsdorf, who's played by Peter Lucas, kills his wife for having an affair with lawyer Paul Held, played by Frank Morgan, takes on the case, suggesting that Walter could be acquitted by means of temporary insanity. Paul not only realizes that his defense may work, but also that some of his behavioral patterns Walter's wife showed in regard to her infidelity are appearing in his own wife, played by Madeline Carroll. Paul realizes that if this defense could work once, it might work for a second time. So it's a riveting pre-code thriller, kind of a courtroom thing. It's really beautifully shot in black and white by Carl Freund, who did The Mummy and he was a great cameraman. Later on, he would do the Lucy Show. Actually, he did a lot of great movies. He's from Germany. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's got audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, and it's got a great early role by Frank Morgan, who would play, the Wizard of Oz. Very notable face. Great movie. I know I kind of I'm feeling cringy for a moment. I feel like I'm just not describing this movie like I should. It's a great movie. It's a pre-code movie. Pre-code being before 1934. Movie producers and directors could get away with a lot more, showing maybe a little more risque subject matter. Maybe a little titillation with legs and just half nude people, and some of the scripts and what they could say and what they couldn't say, and before the pre-code. So it's known as pre-code, which is a lot of risque stuff. So the fact that he's murdering his wife and all that wouldn't have probably been made after 1934 in Hollywood, just because. But anyways, if you're a fan of James Whale, pick it up. It's a great addition. It looks great. It really does. It looks great. And I'm a big fan of James Whale. I got a book to read about him still, everything. So The Kiss Before the Mirror. It's a very interesting release from Kino. And finally, guys, I just recently heard a episode. I listened to it. I didn't watch it. I listened to the episode from Low IQ Media. Now he's a good pal, friend. I've been doing some live streaming with him and stuff. Now he did an episode about the bullfighter and the lady, and it just so happened that I have the bullfighter and the lady, and I picked this up actually in the last few months. Also, it had been on my list forever to get, and it stays up there in price. It's kind of pricey at times. This is a release by Olive Films. Olive Films, unfortunately, they're not very economical sometimes. You won't find them for under $20 a lot of times, so it's hard. You got to really keep your eye on some stuff to find it at a good price. But The Bullfighter and the Lady is a great movie directed by the great Bud Boddicker, who did all my favorite Randolph Scott movies in the 50s. He made a lot of great westerns. He made some gangster movies. Great guy. He was the real deal. He was a real cowboy. He was a real action guy. He was a real stunt man. He was the real dude. He had true grit, as you could say. But he was also a great movie director. And this is one of his movies he made. It's got Robert Stack, where he ends up in Mexico. He ends up training to be a bullfighter, and it's got a great cast. Gilbert Rowland, great actor, left over from the silent days. He was a great silent actor, Gilbert Rowland was, and he eventually made it. He did pretty good in talking pictures later on, because he even ended up in some spaghetti westerns in the 60s and stuff. But he was a great action star, Gilbert Rowland. And it's got Joy Page, Robert Stack, Virginia Gray, John Hubbard, Kathy Giuaro. So yeah, this was originally going to be like a John Wayne picture. Like John Wayne was going to be the Robert Stack character or something, and he produced it for his company and stuff, but he ended up not doing it. Some stuff changed around. So Robert Stack got involved, Bud Boddicker got involved, and a quiet cult classic was born called The Bullfighter and the Lady. This is a great movie. It takes place in modern day Mexico during the 1950s, and really good movie, 1951. And it's got some great bullfighting scenes and stuff. And Bud Boddicker was very interested in bullfighting. He did some bullfighting himself back in the day, and then in the late 60s and stuff, he wanted to make a documentary about one of his favorite bullfighters down there, and it took him years and years to accomplish this, and I don't believe the film ever came out. He ran out of money, he couldn't get studios to finance it and stuff like that, but it was his great passion, was bullfighting and horses and stuff like that. And but yeah, it's a great movie. Pick up The Bullfighter and Lady if you can find it. This is on Olive Films. This is a great release. Looks great. And that's about it, guys. I didn't want to talk your ear off, but I guess I did. But anyways, guys, those are some great movies. If I had to pick one movie out of this whole list that you need to see, that you may have not have seen. Now, it's going to be a tie again, because out of 7 movies, I'm going to have to tie it, guys. I'm going to have The Bullfighter and the Lady and The Stuntman. These are 2 movies that you need to go out now and find. Find these movies, watch them, own them, add them to your collection. Really good movies, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching this episode. If you have any comments, please let me know what you thought about these movies. I know my friend Low IQ Media covered The Bullfighter and the Lady. And comments, guys. Give me some comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed. And that's about it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the 3rd part of my mixed bag of my big box of just mixed up videos. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys again in the future in another episode. So be safe out there, guys, and watch great movies and pick up those 2 movies. Later.